So, as we all should know, Donald Trump has just been recently declared to be Time Magazine's Person of the Year. Okay, this is something that he's been honored with in the past, 2016. But again, 8 long years of being in the political zeitgeist, being president for half of that time, and yet he has only been recognized this year, 2024. This is big news for a multitude of reasons. Let's get right into it. So, first and foremost, let's talk about the fact that he's going to be able to ring the New York Stock Exchange bell as, again, Time names him the Person of the Year. Now, the ringing of the bell is symbolic because, again, number one, it shows that the people in power, the elites, are basically conceding the guy has a mandate. They're saying, okay, the literal New York the stock exchange, for the lack of a better term, that predominates a lot of movies in the culture, The Big Short, think of a lot of other examples. The guy's ringing the bell there. Again, a proverbial sense of, again, kissing the ring to the guy. I mean, you have a Trump cutout in New York, of all places. And as this subtitle says, the guy's never done it despite being a businessman in New York for decades. So to think about it, in 2024, at the ripe old age of 78, he's going to be able to have that privilege. And it's looking as if he has a newfound appreciation among the American people. And there's evidence to point to it. If you look here, according to Red Eagle Politics, friend of the show, a CNN poll has Trump's transition approval rating at 55% approve and only 45% disapprove. If you recall 2017 and 2016, the winner of that year, Trump won the election without the popular vote, and his mandate was not very strong. What I mean is that obviously Democrats had plausible deniability, seeing that more people in raw votes got Hillary over the line compared to Trump. Now, obviously, it's a stupid argument, but apparently, back then, Donald Trump did not really have an approval rating over 50% the entire time. Donald Trump, from let's say 2016 to 2020, basically had an approval rating for the most part of about 40 to 45% the whole time. Didn't matter how good the economy was, didn't matter how secure the border was, didn't matter that we were not involved in foreign countries as much. It just was that people hated him. Now it seems like things are different. Again, kind of crazy that the guy pushing 80 now is more loved than before, but he's low-key being hoisted upon the American people as being some sort of elder statesman. Now, again, a positive approval rating of 10% is historic for Donald Trump. Normally, people like Bill Clinton, Obama, they'd have approval ratings of like 60, 70%, back in the days when people weren't so polarized. But for Trump to be up 10 is actually pretty remarkable, all things considered. Now, of course, we all the time hear about people getting awards that we don't even know exist, or certain pleasantries that, again, are pretty trite. But the Time Person of the Year is really something that ought to be honored. And not because it's such a great institution, but because it's a pillar of the zeitgeist that is a relic of past decades, but it's typically going to be categorized with everything else in the old media as a thing of a bygone era. But this Time Person of the Year award of Donald Trump is really special, and I'll sell you on it right now. Think about this, okay? We have a cover of the magazine as of 2018. This is July 2018. It has a picture of a crying child at the border with Mexico and a picture of Trump looking down. And it says, "Welcome to America." So again, the impression that the Time magazine editorial is trying to paint to you with that title 6 years ago is to say that Donald Trump is a scumbag who's basically looking down, frowning at this like little girl crying. Okay. Now think about how different the zeitgeist is and where the Overton window is in politics. That reference being, of course, the political science phenomena where we do see a shift of people's opinions and where the common opinion is. And it seems as if, of course, we have Donald Trump shifting again that Overton window way to the right and more conservative when it comes to the border politic. We have a situation in which we have a president running for a third time, winning that second or third time, depending on who you ask. And he's running on a thing, and he won on a campaign that said that we will deport all of these illegal aliens. So mass deportations, separating families, implying cutting down legal immigration. All these things were anathema to the politics of the Republican Party, let's say from Reagan up until Trump, 2016. And even 2016 Trump, who again got the Time Person of the Year award in 2016, not in 2020, by the way, he even then did not go as hard on immigration as he did this time. And then, think about that. So he's gone more conservative on that issue, believe it or not. And the Time magazine still puts him on the cover, despite even 6 years ago in his presidency, the first term, having him, of course, as this like pariah who wants to deport and separate families. So you see how beautiful of a picture this paints for MAGA. Now, the red tsunami cannot get any brighter red. I mean, it's just beautiful. Another little piece I'll add in this video, of course, chat. FBI Director Christopher Wray to resign before Trump can even fire him. Again, what does that prove? It shows that not only is Donald Trump feared, but it shows that he's likely to commit to his promises of draining the swamp. If Chris Wray, who nominally might have been a Republican in the past or otherwise seems to be kind of like a reasonable 6-year-old white guy, oh, he's central casting for FBI director. Bottom line is with Christopher Wray, he's a subversive scumbag who subverted Donald Trump's administration, but even beside that, he's resigning because he knows his ass will be headed to the unemployment line pretty soon. And so he'll have the dignity of quitting before getting thrown off the ship. And to be quite clear, even if he doesn't walk the plank, to be throwing yourself in the ocean is just as bad. And so this is a great sign for Trump because a lot of people that are blackpilling is jargon again for being pessimistic, a Debbie Downer. A lot of these folks are saying, oh, Trump won, but he won't commit to his promises. Then why the hell would Christopher Wray quit his own job that he could keep until January 21st if he'd like to? Why would he quit ahead of time if Donald Trump is not going to keep his promise of appointing MAGA patriots in positions of power like Kash Patel for FBI director? I'll ask you that. Okay, so before we get off into too big of a tangent, let's just cover this whole Time Person of the Year thing. So, of course, there was a short list of people that they could have picked from, but they ended up with Trump. Okay, so this is really important why they skipped over these certain candidates. So, for reference, the Time Person of the Year has been a thing since 1927. So, it's an institution that has lasted about 97 years thus far. Pretty big. Now, in 2023, the past year, Taylor Swift was the Person of the Year. So, again, liberal endorsed Kamala. So, just think about it that way. Other selections include Vladimir Zelensky in 2022. They got Elon Musk in 2021, obviously before he became dark, gothic, MAGA, end quote. And then obviously the Ebola fighters in 2014. They got Obama in 2012 and 2008. So they usually pick liberals to be on the list. So for him to be, again, selected over these is interesting. Of course, they skipped over Kamala as the Person of the Year as, I think, a prerequisite for a presidential candidate to be the Person of the Year is to actually win the damn election. Okay? So, of course, there we go. Another delicious segment in this coverage is that apparently Harris on November 6th, or sorry, when it comes to 2020, Harris along with Biden was previously on the Person of the Year cover of 2020. So that duo defeated, in quote, Trump and former Vice President Mike Pence. So isn't that so delicious that she was on the cover as the sidekick of Biden 4 years ago? And of course, we can all agree here that Biden did not deserve to be Person of the Year. More like person most least hated to become president 2020. I mean, Jesus. Now, how prophetic. You see the subtitle of the Person of the Year for 2020. Of course, you have Joe and Kamala, but it says Joe Biden and Kamala Harris changing America's story. Changing America's story. Well, how ironic is that? Because obviously that's a positive thing to say, but changing it for what? In what direction? I mean, kind of proves that that direction was bad when they lost the election, of course. Now, sorry for not doing enough research, but I'm also not gay. Kate Middleton, who I think is like some royalty in England, was going to be one of the people on the short list for this year's Person of the Year, which, again, can somebody in chat tell me why? Elon Musk, obviously, in consideration for Person of the Year. I mean, the guy's a savant, really, in every sense of the word. I mean, other than having charisma, the guy has everything else. He is a billionaire, the richest guy on the planet, I think, still, over Jeff Bezos of all people. Multiple different ventures, space fair. You've got the political stuff. You've got the Tesla stuff. I mean, you got even underground like subway stuff too. I mean, the guy's crazy smart, obviously very talented. I respect this as being somebody on the short list, but obviously, Trump is the GOAT. The greatest of all time is what it means. Now we have Yulia Navalnaya. Who is this? So this is somebody who was married to Alexei Navalny, who was a Putin dissident in Russia. So again, this is like a very safe pick for the millennial liberal class of New York. But again, they picked Trump, so that's pretty telling. Benjamin Netanyahu as well. Anyway, Jerome Powell, who is the Secretary of the Fed or something, he's apparently going to be someone on the short list here. And I mean, to be clear, and again, this might sound like very hateful, but do you not see some 32-year-old like dweeb white guy in New York getting paid six figures to like do some stupid innocuous crap like, oh, Jerome Powell would be a great guy to be Person of the Year. Most people in America don't know who this guy is, by the way. What the hell are we talking about? It's like you're picking the backup quarterback for the Chiefs. It's like, dude, really? Jerome Powell? That's so pathetic. Now, sorry if this is kind of boring, but I just want to like roast this guy. Jerome Powell has been chairman of the U.S. Federal Reserve since 2018, serving both under Trump and Biden. As chairman, he's been steering the ship on the economy, which voters identified as the top issue in the 24 election. Buddy. Again, whoever's writing this is getting paid too much. You got to hire me, because to be clear, if the biggest issue in an election is the economy, 9 times out of 10, it's because the economy sucks. Because if it were going well, why the hell would people care about the economy? It'd be going great. So why even care about it? Right? Like, people didn't say the border was the biggest issue in 1945 because, of course, it wasn't a problem. So, like, oh, the economy was the biggest issue. Therefore, Jerome Powell is the person of the. No, that means exactly the opposite. It means actually the economy is a big issue because people can't afford to live anymore like they did 4 years ago. God dang, dude, these people are so out of touch. And, while that might seem like it's discrediting the fact that Trump is the person of the year, you have to keep in mind that even if these people are so deranged, just like how I explained they are, it shows that they're at least cognizant of the fact that Trump is so overwhelmingly vindicated with this election mandate that they got to put him up as person of the year. So that's my point entirely. Another honorable mention for Joe Rogan. Again, he had Trump on his podcast and JD Vance, so he did them a favor as well. Now, this is somewhat ironic. We have Claudia Sheinbaum taking over after AMLO in Mexico as the first female president of Mexico. And so I guess obviously the liberals are like, oh my God, she's awesome. And her first achievement as president of Mexico basically will be that she is going to protect the southern border of Mexico to prevent people from funneling through Mexico into the U.S. border, because Trump basically said that they'd tariff them to the tune of about 25% if they did not listen. And so that's amazing. Because, again, Claudia Sheinbaum is basically a replica of AMLO, who himself is basically like a brown Bernie Sanders. So for somebody like that to be that leftist but yet still kiss the ring of Donald John Trump is very awesome to me. Now, Donald Trump, again, just obviously manhandling this woman, is now declared the winner of the Person of the Year Award 2024, baby. So as we wrap up the video, let's just see what the liberals have to say about why Donald Trump would be picked. In a stunning political comeback, Donald Trump won the 2024 election. He has reshaped the American electorate, activating young male voters who propelled him to a decisive victory that saw him win the popular vote for the first time and turn every swing state red. Trump's remarkable victory comes after he lost the 2020 election to Biden and repeatedly refused to accept the results. His 2024 win is history-making in multiple ways. He will be the oldest president in U.S. history, and he was convicted earlier this year by a New York jury of 34 counts of fraud, making him the first convicted felon to be elected president. During his 24 campaign, he identified the economy and the border as his top priorities. He promised to implement tariffs on America's top trading partners, Mexico, Canada, and China, once he takes office, worrying economists, and he has announced several controversial cabinet appointments. Trump was previously named the New York Times, or just Times, Person of the Year in 2016, the year he won the presidency for the first time. So there we go, chat. Like the video if you like the content, subscribe if you want more of it, and if you want to be notified, again, hit the like button and the subscription button, and comment down below if you have any other suggestions, any sort of constructive criticism. We'd love to see it, and I'm just so happy for my president, and we'll see y'all in the next one. Adios.